At least 45 states have completely reopened, but according to the CDC, about 53% of Americans have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, some Americans are facing new uncertainty about how to navigate public life this summer. To discuss the impact reopening could have on mental health, I'm joined by Dr. Katherine Kuhlman. She is a clinical and public safety psychologist. Dr. Kuhlman, welcome. It's good to have you with us. Some fully vaccinated individuals may still be hesitant to leave their homes. Why might these people still have social anxiety, and what can help people deal with that?
We've been on lockdown for almost a year now. And so people really have been staying in their homes, and that has become their normal now. So staying in their homes, working from home, really limiting the amount that they leave home. And so the idea of going out and back into the world, despite being vaccinated, could cause some additional anxiety for people because, again, it's transitioning and adjusting to now that I would call it the new normal. It's really not surprising.
Well, are pandemic-related mental health issues, Doctor, expected to last long after the pandemic is over? And what are some strategies to cope with potential long-term issues people might have?
It's a great question. There's a lot of long-term issues. For people who were subjected to domestic violence, child abuse, any kind of traumatic situations, I would expect them to have a difficult time coping moving forward because it was difficult enough to cope with these issues during the pandemic. Additionally, for individuals who suffered the loss of a loved one, grieving has become more complicated during the pandemic because the ways in which people have grieved have become more difficult. I also expect that the pandemic has exacerbated a number of mental health issues. You already mentioned social anxiety, depression, certainly substance abuse. And so I'm expecting a longer-term mental health impact really as things start to open up. And one of the best things that people can do to prevent this from getting worse is going to be really good self-care. Stress-related issues are going to be number one when it comes to reopening after the pandemic and the stress and anxiety that follows. And one of the best things is physical exercise. When people are stressed, the body releases cortisol. The best way to reduce these cortisol levels is going to be cardiovascular activity. So if people are not exercising or taking walks, that's something that they absolutely should be doing. But other self-care like hobbies, reading, making sure that they're having social contact with people and their loved ones, taking time for themselves and setting good boundaries between work and family time.
It's so important that people make the time to do that. Well, a study published in the journal Perspectives in Psychological Science earlier this year suggested that stress, depression, and loneliness could decrease vaccine efficacy. Why might that be?
It's a really interesting finding. And the way that I see it is that stress in and of itself has a huge impact on the immune system. We already know that individuals who experience heightened levels of stress are more prone to things like heart attack and cardiovascular disease. And that's because of how stress affects the immune system. And so it's really not surprising that increased stress or stress-related disorders are going to reduce the efficacy of vaccines.
Well, we know that disagreements between friends and family over whether to get vaccinated can, of course, cause additional stress. How can people best approach those conversations without compromising their mental health?
The best advice that I can give is to have really good boundaries with your family members or friends, especially if you disagree with things like this. This is such a hot topic, and people seem to be on very extreme, ends of the spectrum when it comes to the vaccine. And so the best way to do it is to, first of all, make the decision that's best for you and your family. And it's nobody's business but your own what you decide to do. If you want to disclose it, if you want to have this conversation about it, just be clear that that's your decision and be really careful not to espouse those beliefs onto other people, because that's really where that conflict begins, is when people are trying to convince others, to convert to their side. And if the conflict escalates, know a good way to exit, have a good exit strategy, and know when to put up your hand and say stop and walk away.
Some really good advice, but there is so much that people are going to have to navigate, especially as they seek to get out and gather with friends and loved ones. They want to do it, of course, in as safe a way as possible. All right, Dr. Katherine Kuhlman, doctor, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.